Hello, I'm Rachel Bennett.
And I'm Carrie Vieira, and we're instructional specialists in the English office here at Montgomery County Public Schools. And we're here to talk about why we think blended and personalized learning is so important in our schools today. And by blended and personalized learning, we're talking about integrating technology meaningfully to offer students with a variety of pathways so that they can choose the best way to learn that meets their needs, interests, and learning styles. So why blended and personalized learning? Here in Montgomery County Public Schools, and we're seeing this trend even nationwide, there are lots of schools that are starting to embrace heterogeneous classes where students with a wide range of readiness levels are placed in the same learning environment. And even if your school is not embracing this particular model, all teachers everywhere are wrestling with how to best differentiate their instruction to meet the needs of a wide range of learners to reach all of their kids.
And to ensure equity, we know that that our classes need to be culture responsive, allowing students to process new information in ways that work best for them, to enable them to be independent, self-reliant learners and have self-efficacy. And we believe that blended learning is a powerful instructional approach that will transform learning and will really truly reach all students, especially students who have been left behind by a school system that is not designed for them. We want to give you this quotation by Pedro Noguera. The core of equity, understanding who your kids are and how to meet their needs. You are still focused on the outcomes, but the path to get there may not be the same for each one. We need to create schools that are organized to meet the needs of the kids they serve instead of what we've been doing. We expect kids to adjust to the schools, and if they can't, we say something is wrong with the child, instead of focusing on engagement and nurturing the love of learning in kids.
So with our kids at the forefront of our minds, we ask ourselves, to what extent are we preparing them to interact and engage with the world they live in? In the digital age today, we can customize almost every aspect of our experience, from the way we listen to music, to the way we watch television, to the way we order our food and set up and interact with our devices. We are able to make choices that reflect our interests, our desire to learn, and our way of wanting to interact with the world. We are no longer relying on experts to make those decisions for us. To what extent are we giving students the same ability in our classes?
Let's look at what classrooms look like today. We know in 1900 they look like this. And today, while there are some differences, students are still lined up in the same way, looking at the same place of authority.
What if more of our classrooms instead look like this, where students could choose how they engage with content, be it online or on paper, whether they talk to one another or work on their own, and when they engage and interact with their teacher?
Or like this, where students clearly have designed an environment of their own.
21st century classrooms don't need to look like this, with students staring at computer screens all day long and not interacting with one another. But instead, students are using the technology to innovate and collaborate.
And so we need to ask ourselves as educators, are we preparing our students for our world or their world? In a recent Washington Post article, Jeffrey Kudish highlighted 6 traits that employers are looking for in candidates today. Critical thinking. Are students problem solving at high levels and doing the deep learning every day?
Emotional intelligence. To what extent are we helping students understand their own emotions as well as the emotions of others and helping them understand how to respond appropriately?
Improvisation. Are students following their curiosities? Are they thinking outside the box? Are they applying new learning to unfamiliar situations?
To what extent are we igniting their passion to learn and helping them to make connections from the classroom to their authentic interests?
And cultural awareness. How often are students interacting with diverse perspectives to build empathy?
And courage. To what extent are we challenging students to question the status quo and embrace failure and take risks?
We want to leave you with this quotation by Eric Hoffer. In times of change, learners inherit the earth, while the learned find themselves beautifully equipped to deal with a world that no longer exists.
We hope this presentation inspires you to want to learn more about blended and personalized learning and to try some new things with your students. If you haven't already done so, check out our video on what blended and personalized learning is and what it looks like in an English class.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Bye.
Bye. It's going to take us a second to turn this off. Okay.